Welcome to Tattletale. Here's today's story. They laughed when I applied to be their manager. Now they can't even make eye contact. I used to deliver their coffee. Not as in I was a barrister, but literally I was the junior assistant at this advertising agency downtown. My job description was technically creative operations support, but what that really meant was grab the coffee, take notes nobody reads, and keep your mouth shut. I did all three. I kept my head down. I smiled when they snapped their fingers. I laughed when the creative directors made jokes that were clearly about me. I told myself it was temporary. Just a step. They didn't know I was finishing my MBA at night. They didn't know I was the one fixing the busted decks behind the scenes when they screwed up client presentations. They didn't know I was the one who caught the spelling error on the live campaign that could have tanked our biggest account. They also didn't know that I was watching. Memorizing. Learning how this place really worked, who had power, who didn't, and who was just pretending. The job opening came suddenly. One of the mid-level managers quit after a messy breakup that somehow became office gossip. HR posted the position publicly. I had the qualifications. I had the experience. So I applied. And that's when they laughed. In the break room, during lunch, even in Slack threads they thought I couldn't see. I was the coffee guy, remember? The intern that never left. The errand boy. One of them even told me to my face, hey, I admired the confidence, man, but maybe try for, coordinator first. I smiled. I said thanks for the advice. What I didn't say was, the hiring decision wasn't really up to HR anymore, because something had changed and none of them saw it coming. The week before I applied, the agency was acquired by a private equity firm. No one made a big deal about it at first. Just some internal memo from the CEO, full of vague optimism, strategic growth, new investment, the usual. But I knew what it really meant. I knew because I was the one who printed the decks. The ones the partners used during the acquisition pitch. The ones I accidentally emailed to myself after staying late to help them prepare. That's when I saw slides detailing the post-acquisition restructuring plan. Org charts, names in red. Cuts, promotions, reorgs. And right there, bolded, was the role of Creative Operations Manager. A new position. One step below director. One step above the people who used to call me bro instead of my name. I also saw who was behind it. The firm's lead operating partner, someone I recognized. Because I'd already met her. Not at work. At school. We shared a semester-long group project in grad school. She was sharp, ruthless, and remembered people who pulled their weight. I did. She even told me, if you ever get tired of being underestimated, hit me up. I did. The interview wasn't even formal. It was drinks after work, quiet corner of some rooftop bar in Makati. She asked me what I would do differently if I had the job. I didn't hold back. I had numbers. I had screenshots. I had strategy. A week later, the job posting went live. HR was just a formality. I watched them snicker when I submitted my application. Watched them pass around my awesome like a joke. Watched one of the designers mimic my work behind my back. I didn't say a word. I just waited for the email to go out. The one from the new executive board. With the announcement. The moment it dropped, the office went silent. And that's when things really got interesting. The subject line said, please welcome our new creative operations manager. No warning. No build-up. Just boom right there in everyone's inbox at 10:03 a.m. I was still sitting at my usual desk when it hit. A few people turned to look around, confused. Then someone, Jessa, from accounts literally gasped. Loud enough that it broke the room's awkward silence. And then, all eyes were on me. I didn't move. Didn't smile. Didn't even look up. Just kept typing. I heard whispered fragments float through the room like smoke. Is this a joke? No way, there's gotta be a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. 15 minutes later, I was called into the conference room for my onboarding meeting. Half the people in that room had ignored me for a year. The creative director, Aaron, tried to shake my hand like we were old buddies. I shook it. Brief. No smile. He looked unsettled. The head of HR went over policies, expectations, all that corporate noise. I already knew it. I helped file it last quarter. They said I'd have my own office starting next week. I told them I'd rather keep my current desk for now. It wasn't about revenge. Not yet. It was about presence. Letting them see me. Sit with the discomfort. Let the weight of their past words hang in the air every time I stood to refill my own coffee. Later that afternoon, Aaron asked if we could chat real quick. He led me into the glass meeting room like he was doing me a favor. Then he closed the door and said, look, man, I know we used to joke around a bit, water under the bridge, right? No hard feelings. I looked him in the eye. and said, "That depends, are you still laughing?" He didn't have an answer, so I stood up and said, "Meeting's over." After that, everything shifted. They didn't know how to act around me. Some went stiff and overly formal "good morning, sir," like we hadn't shared a microwave last week. Others just avoided eye contact altogether. A few, like Jessa, tried to cozy up, suddenly all smiles and small talk. As if I didn't remember how she once called me just the errand guy loud enough for the entire bullpen to hear. I kept receipts. Not out of spite at first, but because you learn a lot when people think you're invisible. I didn't come in swinging. No sweeping firings. No flexing authority. I played it slow, measured, professional. But I started changing things. Little things at first. The client dashboard. Streamlined it. Cut dead weight accounts that burned hours but brought in nothing. Fixed the broken project tracking system nobody had touched in years. Quietly phased out the old agency logo and branding because, let's be honest, it looked like it was made in PowerPoint 2008. Then came the first performance reviews. And that's when the fear set in. People started whispering. Some even tried to dig up dirt on me. I caught wind of it. One of the interns overheard Aaron saying I wasn't leadership material and that he knew stuff from back when I was just staff. The intern told me directly. Said he respected the way I carried myself now. I didn't confront Aaron. Not yet. Instead, I reviewed his team's numbers. Saw where projects went late. Saw who bailed early, who fumbled deadlines and covered it up with smooth-talking presentations. It wasn't hard to build a case. One afternoon, I sent Aaron a calendar invite. Subject: Project 407 billing irregularities. Location: my new office. Duration: 50 minutes. He declined the meeting. I rescheduled it for 9:00 a.m. the next day. Mandatory. And then I printed something. Just one page. I folded it clean. Slid it into a plain envelope. Wrote his name on the front. And waited. The funny thing was, once Aaron was gone, the office got quieter and sharper. Like people finally realized this wasn't a playground anymore. Deadlines were met. Reports got triple-checked. No more late arrivals with half-eaten bagels and excuses. I didn't even have to threaten anyone. Just existing in the room was enough. But not everyone hated me. Some of them surprisingly started warming up. Clara, a junior operator who once spilled tea on my laptop and didn't even say sorry, asked if she could shadow me for strategy meetings. Said she wanted to learn how I fit the script. Marcus, who used to roll his eyes when I'd walk into the bullpen, stopped me in the hallway and said, "I underestimated you, man. Respect." I didn't smile, but I nodded. One person, though, never changed. Alyssa. She was one of the senior creatives. Untouchable. Pretty poised, always the loudest voice in brainstorms even when she had nothing to say. She never laughed at me or fright back then, but she was worse. She pitied me. Said things like, "Oh, you're still here, that's so loyal of you." Now she kept her distance. Until the end of Quarter Mixer. It was hosted at a fancy rooftop bar. One of those fake casual events where everyone dresses like they're not trying too hard while trying very hard. I wasn't planning to stay long, but I showed up. Black button up. Clean cut. No name tag. Alyssa was already tipsy when she found me near the railing. She leaned in close. "So, how does it feel to be king of the people who used to ignore you?" I took a sip of my drink. I didn't come here to gloat, though. Come on, she grinned. "You must have fantasized about this, right? The big reversal, all eyes on you?" I didn't answer. She tilted her head. "Or maybe you're still that guy, still watching, still waiting." And that's when I realized she wasn't asking me out of curiosity. She was scared, but trying to flirt her way back into safety. I finished my drink and said, "Don't worry, Alyssa, I'm still watching, but I stopped waiting a long time ago." Then I walked away. And from that night on, she never spoke to me again. A week after the mixer, things started getting strange. Not bad strange, just off. People were too polite. Too rehearsed. I'd walk into a room and conversation would die mid-sentence. Laptops closed. Phones flipped over. At first, I chalked it up to paranoia. That kind of thing happens when power shifts. People get nervous. But then I saw the group chat. It was on a shared iMac in the editing bay. I was just grabbing an HDMI adapter, not even logged in, but the screen hadn't locked. And there it was, *** coffee BOYSNs and official *** dozens of messages. Screenshots of my calendar. Means. Polls. Speculation. *** how long until he cracks? *** do you think he's sleeping with the board? *** I heard he has dirt on everyone. That's why they made him manager. Asterisk it stung, yeah. But mostly it was pathetic. These people grown adults suppose creatives were spending more time analyzing asterisk me asterisk than their own campaigns. Still looking for reasons I didn't deserve the chair I sat in. Still underestimating me. So I gave them a reason to stop. I pulled up performance metrics. Quietly audited internal email chains. Flagged which teams delivered under quota. Cross-referenced time tracking logs. 3 weeks later, I initiated a restructure. Nothing flashy. No bloodbath. Just a realignment. Team leads were reassigned. Underperformers were offboarded. Titles changed. A few familiar names disappeared. The group chat. Deleted. But not before I printed a copy. I keep it in a folder in my drawer. Not as blackmail. Not even for leverage. Just as a reminder of what people say when they think you'll never have power. And what they stop saying once you do. The next email I sent was short. Subject, *** Quarterly Innovation Task Force Initial Roast *** Body, ** Thank you for your consistent contributions. You've been selected to lead our internal innovation audit this quarter. Scope and objectives attached. Let me know if you have questions. *M, I sent it to 3 people. Each of them had been the loudest in that group chat. It wasn't revenge. Not exactly. It was exposure. I handed them real responsibility. Gave them a chance to step up. To prove all their gossip and speculation didn't come from insecurity, it came from capability. And I watched what happened next. One of them, Seth, crumbled immediately. Missed deadlines. Forgot to CC stakeholders. Showed up late to every check-in. Claimed he was burned out. Another, Marie, tried to game the system. Delegated everything. Took credit for the good parts, deflected blame for the bad. I let it ride. Let the pattern form. The third juror? She surprised me. She actually did the work. Ran the meetings. Took notes. Brought original ideas. Even apologized for the way she acted before. I respected that. So I pulled her aside after the audit closed. I read everything I told her. I know what you said about me. She looked down. I figured, but you showed me something else too, I said. You shop, you finish things, you adapt. She blinked. So, what does that mean? It means I'm moving you to strategy. Effective next week, you'll report directly to me. She didn't speak at first. Just nodded. And then she said, I won't waste it. Good. Because I didn't need cheerleaders. I needed soldiers. This place was changing. Fast. The clients noticed. So did the board. And that's when the rumors started again, new ones. But this time, they weren't about how I got the job. They were about where I was going next. It started with a lunch invite I almost ignored. From one of the partners. Not the PE firm, not my grad school contact, but someone above asterisk or asterisk. A guy whose name only appeared in global emails and annual reports. Subject line, let's catch up, your schedule looks packed. I stared at it for 5 minutes before replying. We met at a discreet little restaurant 2 blocks from the agency. No logos. No reservation needed. Just expensive enough that no one from the office would be casually dining there. He was already seated when I arrived. Grey suit, perfect posture, no tie. He didn't shake my hand. Just nodded and gestured to the chair across from him. Congratulations, he said as I sat. You've made quite the impression. I waited. He didn't smile. Word travels fast, he continued. Your team's numbers are clean, churn is down, clients like the changes, but what's more interesting is the culture shift. He leaned in slightly. They're scared of you. I didn't respond. He tapped a finger on the table. That's not criticism. Fear, when used correctly, is efficient, but it can't be the only asterisk thing they feel. Now I spoke. I'm not here to be liked, I said. I'm here to fix what was broken. He nodded slowly. Good answer. Then he reached into his blazer and slid something across the table. An embossed folder. Black. No logo. I opened it. Inside was a proposal. A very different kind of one. A restructuring. Not of a department, but of the entire asterisk regional division asterisk. Budget projections. Headcounts. Offices across Southeast Asia. Leadership gaps. And at the center of it all, asterisk proposed role interim regional director strategy and transformation asterisk. I looked up. Interim? For now, he said. Prove you can handle it, we make it permanent. You'll need to relocate. Singapore, likely. I closed the folder. My mind raced. He stood, straightened his jacket. You don't have to answer today, but the board wants movement before Q3. Then he looked at me, really looked. Whatever they used to call you, he said they wouldn't say it again, not after this. He left without shaking my hand. I stayed there for a long time, staring at the black folder. I'd spent a year earning the right to sit at the table. Now they were offering me the asterisk head seat. Asterisk, and I couldn't help but think, what happens when the coffee boy runs the entire floor? I didn't tell anyone. Not at first. Not even Joe, who by now had become something close to an ally. I kept going to work like nothing had changed. Sat at the same desk. Drank from the same chip mug. Worked the same holes where people still lowered their voices when I passed. But my eyes were already somewhere else. I started noticing cracks I hadn't seen before. Senior stuff coasting under the radar. Office politics disguised as team alignment. Budgets inflated without clear outcomes. The kind of inefficiencies you only catch when you're not fighting to prove yourself anymore, when you're preparing to replace the system altogether. One night I stayed late. Later than usual. The place was empty except for me and one junior designer, Kyle, who I barely knew. He came over nervously with a tablet in his hand. Hey, sorry to bother you, but can you take a look at this? I know it's not your job, but I trust your eye. I raised an eyebrow. You trust my eye? He nodded. You don't fake things. People might not say it, but everyone here knows you're the only one who actually earned your title. That stuck with me. Long after I reviewed his work, it was solid, and he left. I sat there in the quiet hum of fluorescent lights, staring at the open folder in my drawer. Interim Regional Director. I had 48 hours to respond. 2 emails sat in my drafts, one accepting, one declining, and I couldn't decide. Because somewhere between coffee runs and corner offices, I had become something I never planned to be, a symbol. Not just to the juniors, but to the bitter, the jaded, the people who thought ambition was dead and the game was rigged. And if I left, I wasn't sure what would happen to all that. Would they go back to laughing? Would the wolves come back the second I was out of sight? Or had I already changed the floor enough that it didn't need me anymore? I closed the folder. Shut down my computer. And for the first time in weeks, I worked out not thinking about power, or pay, or revenge. Just one question echoing in my head. Asterisk, what do you do when the underdog wins? Asterisk, because no one tells you what happens after that. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there in the dark, the glow of my phone screen lighting the ceiling as I scrolled through the folder again, PDF after PDF. Forecasts. Targets. Relocation package. The kind of numbers that would have made my past self choke on his instant noodles. At 3:27 AM, I texted Joe. Asterisk, you up? Asterisk, no reply. Good. She needed sleep. She was doing real work now. Better than half the so-called leaders who once scoffed when I entered the room. At 4:12 AM, I wrote a resignation letter. Not for the agency. For the me I used to be. The version who kept his head down. Who smiled when humiliated. Who played invisible just to survive. I deleted it. Because that version was already gone. At 6:00 AM, I arrived at the office early. First one in. Just like before. Except this time, I wasn't making coffee for anyone but myself. And at 8:01, I hit send. To the partner. To the board. To HR. Asterisk subject. Asterisk regional transition acceptance. Confirmed asterisk I attached to plan my plan. Transition strategy. Names I recommended for promotion. Safeguards to protect the new structure I'd put in place. Joe was on the list. So was Kyle. I didn't include anyone from the old guard. Let them learn the hard way just like I did. By noon, the rumors had already started again. Some said I was leaving because I couldn't handle the pressure. Others said I'd been recruited by a rival firm. But none of them knew the truth, that I wasn't running asterisk from asterisk anything. I was walking asterisk into asterisk something much bigger. And this time, they wouldn't even be able to follow. My official goodbye was scheduled for Friday. They called it a transition toast. HR printed flyers. The kitchen staff ordered cheap Prosecco. Someone slapped together a slideshow with low-res photos of me from office events I barely remembered attending. It was awkward. The kind of forced celebration where people don't know whether to clap or just nod politely. I stood there near the glass wall, watching them gather in 2s and 3s. The same faces. The same smiles. But the energy had shifted. This time, asterisk was the one being watched. Erin's old desk was still empty. Jo stood by the window, arms folded. She caught my eye and raised a cup. I nodded. Kyle fidgeted near the snack table, clearly uncomfortable in crowds. But he was there. Alyssa was not. I didn't ask. When the little speech started, it was the new HR lead who read it. Corporate, sanitized, impersonal. But when they handed me the mic, I didn't read from the note I prepared. I said this and said, when I started here, I wasn't anyone important. Some of you probably don't even remember that. Polite laughter. A few do. I used to think that getting to the top meant changing who you were, that power meant becoming cold, untouchable, but I've learned something else. I looked around the room. It's not about rising above people, it's about knowing where you came from, and making sure no one else gets crushed the way you did. The room fell quiet. Even the ones who used to mock me looked away. I let the silence settle. Then I smiled, just slightly. And hey, I added, I make better coffee now anyway. Light laughter again. But it was different. Real. I stepped down. No mic drop. No dramatic exit. Just a quiet departure. By 5 p.m., I had packed up my desk what little I had. A pen, a notebook, that old chip mug. I left the office with no fanfare. But as I walked toward the elevator, I felt it. Not just eyes watching, but something else. Respect. And not demanded. And right before the doors closed, Joe called out. I turned. They'll forget us, she said, smirking. When you're ruling the region. I smiled back. Only if you don't forget why we started. Then the doors shut. And just like that, I was gone. Singapore was different. Smoother. Colder. Vaster. The building they moved me into was twice the height of our Manila office and 4 times as quiet. Everyone wore suits. Even the interns. No birthday balloons taped to cubicles. No microwaves beeping. No loud Spotify playlists leaking from someone's corner. It wasn't better or worse, just sharp. Like a place built for people who didn't ask twice. My new title, ** Interim Regional Director, Strategy and Transformation. ** I had a corner office. A real one this time. Frosted glass. City skyline. Smart desk that adjusted when I stood. And yet, on my first morning, I sat there for a long time just staring at my reflection in the black screen of the monitor. Not because I was nervous. Because I couldn't believe I made it. The kid they used to call Coffee Boy now held access to 7 budget across 5 countries. I ran meetings where directors deferred to me. I signed off on restructures that reshaped entire teams. But even with all that, something gnawed at me. It wasn't imposter syndrome. It was something deeper. Every time I walked through those spotless glass doors, every time someone greeted me with sir and waited before speaking, I felt it. The distance. The space between them and me. There was no one left who remembered what I used to be. And that meant something dangerous. I could become the kind of boss I used to hate, and no one here would even know it. So on my 3rd week, I did something stupid. Or maybe something honest. I took a flight back home. No announcement. No limo. No assistants. Just me, in jeans, arriving unannounced on a Thursday morning. I stepped into the old office building like a ghost revisiting his own life. It smelled the same coffee, paper, aircon with a hint of mildew. But everything else had changed. My desk was gone. Replaced by a standing table with 2 monitors and a potted succulent. Jill was in the middle of a team huddle when she saw me. Her eyes widened. And then she grinned. Look who decided to slum it with the rest of us, she said. Couldn't stay away, I replied. She pulled me into the circle. No fear. No tension. Just welcome. That's when I realized something. This place didn't need me anymore. And somehow that was the biggest win of all. Joe dragged me into the break room like I was still one of them. Someone had drawn a fake mustache on my old staff photo on the wall. Another had scribbled CEO of Petty Comeback * under it. I laughed. For the first time in weeks, I actually laughed. We sat on the counter, eating cheap sopa and drinking powdered coffee from a Smash Mugs. It felt like a reset button I didn't know I needed. You look heavier, Joe said, squinting at me. Gee, thanks, no, not like that, she grinned. I mean, like something's on you, sitting on your shoulders. I didn't answer right away. Then I said, it's weird, I worked so hard to be in charge of everything, but now that I am, I kind of miss being part of something. Joe nodded like she got it instantly. You don't belong in glass towers, she said. You belong in rooms where people actually talk. She wasn't wrong. But the job I had now didn't allow much talking. It was strategy. Budgets. Policies. Calls with suits who smiled with their teeth but not their eyes. People who said things like synergy and stakeholder journey and asset leverage with a straight face. I left the day without telling anyone but Joe. Didn't even tell HR I stopped by. Back in Singapore, the glass tower waited. So did my assistant, 3 voicemails, and a spreadsheet that looked like it wanted to fight me. I powered through it all. But something had shifted. Because now, every time I approved a restructure or cleared a hire, I thought about Joe, about Kyle, about what it meant to lift someone up instead of step over them. I still played the game, but I started bending the rules. Made space for people with strange ass and sharp edges. Took chances on the ones who didn't know how to talk corporate but knew how to asterisk work. And quietly, slowly, I started building something better than what I'd inherited. Something that looked a little more like where I came from. The irony? They started calling me visionary. Funny. They used to call me the coffee guy. The promotion came 6 months later. This time, there was no interim in the title. Just a clean final line on the company-wide announcement, asterisk effective immediately, / redacted is now Regional Director of Strategy and Transformation, Southeast Asia. Asterisk I got the email at 8:03 a.m. By 8:07, my phone buzzed with messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Former colleagues, classmates, ex-managers who once ghosted my applications. One even had the nerve to write, asterisk so proud of you, bro. Knew you'd make it, asterisk I didn't reply. What Joe did. She messaged me a screenshot of the email with one word, asterisk damn. Asterisk followed by asterisk you good up there, asterisk I replied, asterisk trying to be. Asterisk and that was true. Because by now, the title didn't feel heavy anymore. What felt heavy were the choices. I wasn't just moving pieces around on a board. I was changing lives. Every decision filtered down. People I'd never meet, interns in Kuala Lumpur, assistants in Jakarta, juniors in Ho Chi Minh would feel the ripples of every policy I touched. So I started writing something on the inside cover of my notebooks. Every new quarter, asterisk what would past me need right now, asterisk it kept me grounded. Reminded me that no matter how high I climbed, I wasn't building a tower, I was laying a bridge. By Q4, the numbers were better than anyone expected. Turnover dropped. Retention rose. 2 competing agencies folded. We absorbed both on my terms. I made sure the best people from those teams weren't buried under old politics. Because I remembered what that felt like. And then, during an internal global summit, something happened that almost felt surreal. The keynote speaker, someone I'd only seen in videos, one of the company's founders, pointed me out mid-speech. This guy here, he said, gesturing to me, reminds us what this business was supposed to be about: grit, observation, patience, and a little revenge, he added with a wink. The room laughed. I didn't. Because I knew something they didn't. This wasn't revenge. This was the long game, and I hadn't even finished playing yet. That night, after the summit, I found myself alone on the hotel rooftop. 53 stories above the city, watching the lights flicker like static on a broken TV. I should have felt proud, respected, admired, powerful, but instead I felt hollow. Not because I didn't deserve it, but because somewhere in the climb I'd stopped asking myself asterisk why asterisk I was climbing. And for the first time in a long time, I missed something simple. Not power, not validation, asterisk belonging. Asterisk I scrolled through my phone until I found a photo from the old office, the Manila one. It was blurry. Someone had taken it mid-laugh. Joe, Kyle, and me at the long table during an after-hours pizza night. No titles. No attention. Just people trying. I hadn't spoken to Kyle in months. He'd left the agency, apparently. Took a junior role at a startup no one had heard of. No goodbye message. No email. Just vanished. So I messaged Joe. Asterisk me, asterisk what happened to Kyle? She replied 2 minutes later. Asterisk Joe, asterisk he's building his own thing. App for creatives, kinda cool actually. Asterisk me, asterisk he okay. Asterisk Joe, asterisk yeah, but you should reach out. I think he thought you forgot him. I stared at that for a long time. Maybe I had. That's the thing about rising fast, you lose pieces of yourself on the way up. Not all at once. Just a little bit each step. The next morning, before I even checked my inbox, I sent Kyle a message. Asterisk heard you're building something. Need someone to test it. Asterisk he replied 4 hours later. Asterisk only if you promise not to turn it into a corporate empire. Asterisk I laughed. Out loud. Then I typed asterisk no promises. But I remember where I came from. Asterisk because the truth is, for all the power and money and shiny titles, the only thing worth holding on to is who you were when no one believed you ever would be. 3 weeks later, I flew back to Manila again. No press release. No work excuse. Just me, a backpack, and a curiosity I couldn't shake. Kyle met me at a cramped cafe near his new co-working space. He looked different, older, sharper, like someone who'd stopped trying to impress and started trying to build. He didn't ask why I came. He just handed me his phone. This is it, he said. Still early, bare bones, but it's real. The app was a platform for creators, writers, editors, designers meant to cut up bloated agencies and let freelancers connect directly with clients. Transparent contracts. Shared margins. No middleman nonsense. It wasn't flashy, but it was smart. Why this? I asked. He shrugged. Because I got tired of watching people with real talent get trampled by people with better titles. I looked at him. He was me. 5 years ago. Same fire. Same grit. Less armor. You need backing? I asked. He hesitated. Depends. Are you offering as a friend? Or as a corporate shark? I smiled. Both. We talked for hours. He had a small team. 2 developers. One part-time UX girl who also ran a sorry store. They were scrappy. Underfunded. But their metrics were solid. They didn't need me. But they could excuse me. So I made an offer. Not controlling. Not loud. Just enough to keep the lights on with one condition. No bloat, no buzzwords, no politics. We do this clean. He agreed. And just like that, I became something I never thought I'd be: an investor. Not in startups. In underdogs. In people like us. When I flew back to Singapore, the glass office felt different. Smaller. Less like a throne, more like a waiting room. Because now I had one foot back on the ground. Back where the real stories were. And I realized winning the game is one thing. But changing the rules. That's the real end game. I started splitting my time. 2 weeks in Singapore, running strategy for an empire that still ran on suits and slide decks. 2 weeks in Manila, squeezed into Kyle Schubert's office with mismatched chairs, extension cords taped to the walls, and coffee so strong it could peel paint. And strangely, I felt more asterisk myself asterisk in the Schuberts. Maybe it was the mess. Maybe it was the honesty. Or maybe it was because no one here cared what I used to be. They just cared what I could asterisk build. By the second month, Kyle's app had doubled its user base. Freelancers started recommending it in Reddit threads, Discord servers, even random comment sections. One guy called it asterisk Upwork if it wasn't designed by vampires. Asterisk we didn't spend a peso on marketing. It was all word of mouth. All trust. And all because we remember the thing most companies forget: people don't want perks. They want asterisk dignity. Asterisk, meanwhile, back at the glass tower, something was shifting. My board noticed the pattern. I stopped attending the fancy dinners. Delegated the safe, political calls. Stopped pretending I cared about brand refreshes that were just fonts with new names. Instead, I focused on streamlining bureaucracy, cutting bloat, and backing the quiet performers, the ones like Kyle, like Joe, like me. Some didn't like it. A few whispered that I was distracted. One even pulled me aside and said, "Careful, don't forget where your loyalty lies." I looked him dead in the eye. "My loyalty lies with impact," I said. "And right now this place is just noise." He didn't speak to me again. Didn't matter. Because I'd already made my decision. By the end of Keep Woe, I filed my exit papers. Graceful. Clean. Strategic. I trained Jo as my replacement. Flew her out. Let her shadow me for a month. Gave her the codes, the contacts, the playbook. She didn't cry. But when she hugged me before flying back, she whispered, "You built the kind of ladder you used to need." And I realized that was the legacy. Not the title. Not the office. Not the glass. But the ladder.